everyone. So I'm back with our daily current affairs session. In today's news, we have some very important news, which are the first news that we have is actually related to the former prime minister who was shot dead in Japan, the former prime minister of Japan only. In this particular article, we will try to understand that what are India and Japan ties under his time. So his as we I told you yesterday only that Shinzo Abe, the former prime minister of Japan, shot. Yesterday I told you he was shot, but then after 2 hours he died. So how was Japan helpful for India during his time? So we will try to understand that now in this particular article. Okay. So Abe was one of the most consequential leaders of the Japan in its post-war history, and he was the country's longest serving PM. So he was Japan's longest serving PM. So this is also important. Okay. During his time in office, Abe was a great friend of India and a relationship that he invested personally in. So obviously, Japan and India had a very good the relationship between the two countries were very good during his times, and बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें हुई हैं उस टाइम में जो कि इंडिया एंड जापान दोनों के लिए काफी बेनिफिशियल रही है ड्यूरिंग हिज टेन्योर. So he also had a special rapport with PM Modi, which came out on multiple occasions. And he and our PM, they both have a very good mutual respect and a very good relationship with each other. So आगे हम देखते हैं. So this was about Japan. कैसा था, क्या मतलब he was the longest serving, how was the relationship with India. अभी तक हमने ये देखा. अब हम देखेंगे कि इंडिया और जापान के रिलेशंस कैसे थे ड्यूरिंग हिज टेन्योर. So now let's talk about the bilateral talks between the two countries. So the foundation for global partnership between Japan and India was led in 2001. So this article is also very much important from the perspective of the international relationship between India and Japan. So please pay attention to this. And annual bilateral summits were agreed in 2005. Abe accelerated the pace of ties since 2012. So he actually accelerated the pace of these ties which were there initially, the global partnership between Japan and India. So उनका जो रोल था वो बहुत ही significant. In August 2007, when he visited India for the first time as PM, he delivered the now famous confluence of the two seas speech, which is now very important. So this laid the foundation of his concept of Indo-Pacific. So we heard this term a lot. So this was actually, after this speech. This concept has now become mainstream and one of the main pillars of India-Japan ties. So now after this speech of confluence of the two seas, जो Indo-Pacific concept था, that actually had its foundation from there. And ये अब एक बहुत ही mainstream and बहुत ही main pillars में से एक है इंडिया और जापान की ties. Okay. Now, what are nuclear deals between the two countries? So in September 2014, Modi and Abe agreed to upgrade the bilateral relationship to special, strategic, and global partnership. So during 2014 September, they both actually, RPM and he, agreed to have this relationship on a higher level, and they have this special strategic and global partnership. The relationship grew and encompassed issues from civilian nuclear energy to maritime security, bullet trains to quality infrastructure, Act East policy to Indo-Pacific strategy. So you have to remember these terms. ये सारी जो जितने भी terms हैं ये आपको you have to kind of remember them. When Modi went to Japan in 2014, the Indo-Japan nuclear deal was still uncertain. So this Indo-Japan nuclear deal was not clear whether it is going to happen or how it is going to happen, all those things. There was a lot of uncertainty in 2014 when our PM visited Japan. With Tokyo sensitive about a pact with the non-nuclear proliferation treaty member country. So because they are the non-nuclear proliferation treaty members, the countries, so they were not clear about it, that whether they want to have this nuclear deal or not. Now, what happened? Actually, Abe convinced the anti-nuclear hawks in Japan to sign the agreement in 2016. And it was him, Abe, who actually convinced the hawks of in Japan, or wo jo treaty thi was finally signed and agreed in 2016. So he actually helped a lot uh, in these things. Then the next point is about defense cooperation. So while the security agreement was in place since 2008, under Abe, the two sides decided to have foreign and defense ministers meeting 2+2. Okay, so this was actually decided in 2008, in his time only, when they have this foreign and defense ministers meeting. They started negotiations on the acquisition and cross-servicing agreement, a kind of military logistic support pact. So you have to remember the agreement name, and ये किस चीज से related है ये भी you have to remember. This is also very important. Also because we are talking in terms of अभी तो हमको पता है कि इंडिया जापान की बात हो रही है, बट इन एग्जाम इट कुड बी आस्क्ड कि ये कौन सी कंट्री से के बीच है, या all those questions can become. So in that way you have to remember. In November 2019, the first 2+2 was held in New Delhi. So it was held in New Delhi for the first time. Okay, you have to also remember. A pact for transfer of defense equipment and technology was also signed in 2015. An uncommon agreement for post-war Japan. So this was an agreement which was signed in 2015, which this names that transfer of defense equipment and technology. So there are so many names that you have to remember here. कौन से agreements है, कौन से pacts हैं, and basically उनका थोड़ा idea होना चाहिए year का. And because अभी, as I told you, now we are talking about Japan and India specifically, but exam में किस country का है वो you have to remember, because that could be asked. You could have given a few countries name and then they could be asked कि ये कौन से country के साथ है ये वाला agreement. Okay, so be cautious about that. Okay, so the next point is Indo-Pacific narrative. So during his tenure, India and Japan came closer in the Indo-Pacific architecture. He had spelled out his vision of the confluence of the two seas in 2007 speech, as we see, when the Quad was formed. Okay, so Quad में India, Japan तो हो गए. Now there are other countries also that you have to tell me कि वो countries कौन सी हैं. So you have to tell me this in comment. So please make sure to give your answer. It collapsed soon, but in October 2017, as Chinese aggression grew in Pacific Indian Ocean and India's borders in Doklam, it was as Japan that really mooted the idea of reviving the Quad. So it was actually him who helped India, and then they again formed Quad. Then next point is development cooperation. During his visit in 2015, India decided to introduce the Shinkansen system, which is a bullet train. Under its leadership, India and Japan also formed the Act East Forum and are engaged in projects in the Northeast closely watched by China. So these were the things, and already we know that Japan is very advanced when it comes to technology, trains, and everything. So there we have got a lot of help from them. The two countries also planned joint projects in Maldives and Sri Lanka, among others, to counter Beijing's influence. Okay, so these were the things which have been done as developmental cooperation among the two countries. Now, the other point is stand against China. So, since 2013, Indian and Chinese soldiers have had four publicly known border standoffs, and in April 2013 to September 20, then September 2014 and June August 2017, and the ongoing one since May 2020. So now, as Japan has stood with India through each of them, so there have been a lot of support uh, from his side, from his country's side during all these times. During the Doklam crisis, the current standoff, Japan has made statements against China for changing the status quo. So they have also given statements which were against them and which had been in support of India. Now, as conclusion, we can see that he was a great support, and India is definitely going to miss him and his support. So he was a valuable G7 leader for India, focused on strategic, economic, and political deliverables and not getting distracted by India's domestic developments. So this is, he always was there to help us in any situation. And in G7, he was a valuable leader for the country. Having hosted Modi at his ancestral home in Yamunashi, the first such reception extended to a foreign leader. Abe was spotted at a roadshow in Ahmedabad. So he hosted Modi in his ancestral home, and our PM also, honored him in a roadshow in Ahmedabad. So बहुत ही अच्छा एक पर्सनल सा रिलेशनशिप था. Quite befittingly, the Indian government in January 2021 announced the Padma Vibhushan, the country's second highly civilian honor for him. So this is also important that in January 2021, our Indian government announced a Padma Vibhushan to him. Okay. So this is it about this particular news. Now we have another news that we are going to see. This news is actually related to the Khasis, basically the Autonomous District Council, and it is specific to the Meghalaya. So we will try to understand. Okay. The Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council, which is shortly known as KHADC, in Meghalaya has called for a meeting of traditional heads to revisit the instrument of annexation that made the Khasi domain a part of the Indian council. Now इस particular paragraph में there are a few questions. सबसे पहला कि autonomous district council क्या होते हैं, ठीक है? We will have answer for this question in our upcoming slides, no problem. Then we are also going to have a question कि instrument of accession क्या होता है. This question also we are going to get answer for in the upcoming slides. So let's just move further and try to understand this particular news. सबसे पहले about KHADC. So I'll be calling it shortly because it has a big name. So Khasi Hill Autonomous District Council. So I will be calling it KHADC. So KHADC is an autonomous district council in the state of Meghalaya in India. So you have to remember this, that it is in which state? Meghalaya, very important. It is one of the 3 autonomous district councils within Meghalaya and one of the 25 autonomous regions of India. So Meghalaya में total there are 3 autonomous district councils, जिनमें से ये एक है, and one of the 25 autonomous regions of India. So India में total 25 है, जिनमें से ये एक है. Okay. Now Meghalaya is divided into 3 regions dominated by as many matrilineal communities, the Khasis, Garo and Jpan. So you have to remember this also. कि कौन-कौन सी matrilineal communities है. Also you might be asked कि ये patrilineal communities है, matrilineal communities है. So this is also very important from that perspective. The Khasi Hill straddle 25 Himas or states that form the Federation of Khasi states. Okay? So basically 25 states हैं जो कि पूरा Federation of Khasi state बनाते हैं. अब अभी ये न्यूज में है because some members of the KHADC agreed that the instrument of accession and the annexed agreement signed with the Dominion of India between December 15, 1947 and March 1948 should be studied. So कुछ members जो हैं वो इस ऑटोनोमस काउंसिल के वो चाहते हैं कि जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ एक्सेशन है उसको जो साइन किया था दिसंबर 1947 से 1948 के बीच में, वो उसको एक बार दोबारा से स्टडी किया जाना चाहिए कि वो क्या था, क्या उसमें चीजें थी. ऑल द ट्रीटी वाज साइंड बाय गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया चक्रवर्ती राजगोपालाचारी ऑन अगस्त 17, 1948. तो ये जो ट्रीटी थी, जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ एक्सेशन था, वो साइन किसने किया था? गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया एंड चक्रवर्ती राजगोपालाचारी अगस्त 1948. ओके, सो आप समझने की कोशिश करते हैं कि इतनी देर से सुन रहे हैं हम, व्हाट इज दिस इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ एक्सेशन. वी विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये होता क्या है. ठीक है, so it was a legal document first introduced by the Government of India Act 1935. So जो Government of India Act 1935 का आया था, उसमें ये एक लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट था जो पहली बार इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया था. It was used in 1947 to enable each of the rulers of the princely states under British paramountcy to join one of the new dominions of India or Pakistan created by the partition. क्या कह रहे हैं ये कि ये एक लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट था जो कि इंट्रोड्यूस किया था गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1935 में. 1947 में जितने भी प्रिंसली स्टेट्स थे, रूलर्स थे, उनको या तो पार्टीशन के बाद इंडिया के एरिया में रहना था, डोमिनियन में रहना था, या फिर पाकिस्तान में. सो दे कुड सेलेक्ट दैट कौन सा वो ज्वाइन करें. द इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स ऑफ एक्सेशन executed by the rulers provided for the accession of states of the Dominion of India on the 3 subjects, namely defense, external affairs and communication. Okay, so this was about instrument of accession. Now we will try to understand कि autonomous district council होता क्या है. हम बात कर रहे थे खासी हिल्स ऑटोनोमस डिस्ट्रिक्ट काउंसिल। तो ये ऑटोनोमस डिस्ट्रिक्ट काउंसिल है क्या, जो खासी हिल्स के स्पेसिफिकली बात कर रही है? बाकी हमने देखा कि 25 और भी ऑटोनोमस डिस्ट्रिक्ट काउंसिल हमारी कंट्री में है। तो आप समझने की कोशिश करते हैं, देन व्हाट इज ऑटोनोमस डिस्ट्रिक्ट काउंसिल। The sixth schedule of the Indian Constitution allows for the formation of autonomous administrative division which has been given autonomy within their respective state. तो जो हमारा सिक्स्थ शेड्यूल है हमारे इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का, वो एक ऑटोनॉमी देता है कि जो भी डिवीजन है, ऑटोनोमस एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव डिवीजन है, उनके पास पूरी ऑटोनॉमी है कि वो अपने रेस्पेक्टिव स्टेट में अपना ऑटोनोमस, दे कैन हैव देयर ओन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. Most of these ADC villages are located in northeast India, with the exception of 2 in Ladakh and 1 in West Bengal. Very important. Mostly जो autonomous district councils हैं, जो नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया में ही हैं. 2 एक्सेप्शन हैं, जिसमें से एक लद्दाख में है और एक वेस्ट बंगाल में है. So you have to remember this. This is very. Presently, 10 autonomous councils in Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, and Tripura are formed by virtue of the 6th schedule, with the rest being formed as a result of other legislation. So, ये भी important है. वर्तमान में हमारे पास 10 autonomous council हैं, असम, मेघालय, मिजोरम एंड त्रिपुरा. Okay, AMMAT, you can remember AMMT. So ये 6 शेड्यूल के हैं, और बाकी जितने भी ऑटोनोमस डिस्ट्रिक्ट काउंसिल हैं वो अदर लेजिस्लेशन के थ्रू होंगे. ठीक है. नाउ वी विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि जो ऑटोनोमस डिस्ट्रिक्ट काउंसिल होते हैं, इनके पावर्स एंड कॉम्पिटेंसीज क्या होते हैं. ठीक है, क्विकली देख लेंगे, इतना टफ नहीं है, बट थोड़ा मेमोराइज करने की चीज है. तो यू कैन हैव you can just pause it and have a look on this twice or thrice, so you will be able to capture it. Number 1, executive and legislative power. So under the provisions of the 6th schedule, ADs can make laws, rules and regulations in the following areas. So land management, forest management, water resources, agriculture and cultivation, formation of village councils, public health, sanitation. Okay, and और भी बहुत सारे हैं. Village and town level policy, appointments of traditional chiefs and headmen, की head कौन बनेगा, ये भी वो डिसाइड कर सकते हैं. Inheritance of property, property कैसे इनहेरिट होगी, किसको मिलेगी, किसको नहीं मिलेगी, सबके अपने अपने लॉज होते हैं. कहीं पे कुछ ट्राइब्स में ऐसा होता है कि गर्ल्स गेट दी प्रॉपर्टी, कोई बड़ी बेटी, किसी क्या होता है कि बड़े बेटे को मिलती है. ऑल दीज आर द रूल्स. देन मैरिज एंड डिवोर्स कैसे होगा, सोशल कस्टम्स वो उनके ऑटोनोमस होते हैं. मनी लेंडिंग एंड ट्रेडिंग, माइनिंग एंड मिनरल्स, तो उनका जो एरिया होगा, वहां पे जितने भी मिनरल्स, रिसोर्सेज, माइनिंग होगी, दैट विल आल्सो बी डिसाइडेड बाय देम. The second point is judicial power. So when we talk about the judicial power, autonomous district council have power to form courts, so they can have their own courts. Okay, they can hear cases where both parties are members of scheduled tribes, and the maximum sentence is less than 5 years in prison. So वो खुद अपने केस सुन सकते हैं दोनों पार्टीज की तरफ से, और वो शेड्यूल ट्राइब के मेंबर होते हैं दोनों ही पार्टीज के. और जो मैक्सिमम उनको जो जेल में सजा दी जा सकती है वो 5 साल से कम होती है, उससे ज्यादा नहीं दी जाती. ठीक है, so they have their own courts. Now taxation and revenue. Autonomous district councils have powers to levy taxes, fees and tolls on building and lands, animals, vehicles, boats, entry of goods into the area, roads, ferries, bridges, employment and income, and general taxes for the maintenance of schools and roads. सो इन ये अपने खुद टैक्सेशन के रूल्स डिसाइड करेंगे, कलेक्ट भी खुद करेंगे, टोल्स से टैक्स कलेक्ट कर सकते हैं. इट इज टोटली डिपेंडेंट ऑन देम. ठीक है, जो भी बिल्डिंग्स हैं, लैंड्स हैं, एनिमल्स हैं और रोड्स हैं, ब्रिजेस हैं, एम्प्लॉयमेंट है, इनकम टैक्स है, ऑल दे आर डिसाइडेड बाय देम. और उससे ये अपनी मेंटेनेंस के लिए यूज खुद से करते हैं. एंड ये डिसीजन भी इनका ही होता है कि हाउ दे आर गोइंग टू स्पेंड इट, स्कूल्स में, रोड्स में, एंड अनदर थिंग्स जिसमें भी वो करना चाहे उसको यूज. ठीक है. Okay, so now with this, we have come to an end to our newses. We'll quickly just see what we have seen in the newses, and then we will move to the questions. So first was actually related to that we saw that the former PM of Japan has died, and then we saw that how his tenure was very much good for India, how the bilateral talks were there during that tenure, nuclear deals, डिफेंस कोऑपरेशन कैसा था, क्या क्या डील्स हुई थी, इंडो पैसिफिक नैरेटिव क्या था उनकी स्पीच के बाद, एक्चुअली दिस कॉन्सेप्ट केम एंड हाउ डिड इट हैपन, डेवलपमेंटल कोऑपरेशन कैसा था बिटवीन द टू कंट्रीज एंड कैसा रहा है. ओके. So then कैसे against China they have been a very good help to the country, all those things. Okay. Then we had this second news which was related to Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council कि वो अपना जो उनका पुराना इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ एक्सेशन है उसको रिविजिट करना चाहते हैं, दोबारा पढ़ना चाहते हैं. एंड जो उनके हेडमैन हैं उनसे इस पे they want to have a discussion on this so that all those things. Now इसमें हमने क्या देखा कि सबसे पहले हमने देखा कि खासी हिल्स ऑटोनोमस डिस्ट्रिक्ट काउंसिल क्या है, कितनी टोटल मेघालय में है, वन ऑफ द 3 मेघालय ऑटोनोमस डिस्ट्रिक्ट काउंसिल, न्यूज में क्यों है, एंड इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ एक्सेशन क्या होता है. देन वी ऑल्सो अंडरस्टूड कि ऑटोनोमस डिस्ट्रिक्ट काउंसिल क्या होती है, कौन से शेड्यूल में है इंडिया के, एंड टोटल हमारे पास कितनी है इन इंडिया. Also, we tried to understand the powers and competencies of these autonomous district councils. क्या executive and legislative powers हैं, क्या judicial powers हैं इनकी, and taxation and revenues ये कैसे collect हों. Now we have come to an end to our news. Now we will see the few questions that we have today. So which company, the first question is, which company launched Startup School India initiative? So this is also a current based question. I hope you people will be able to answer it. The first option is Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta. Which company launched the Startup School India initiative? Actually, this is easy. Okay, so Google has launched this initiative. So let's try to read this particular explanation so that we can have more knowledge about this particular topic. Tech major Google announced the launch of Startup School India initiative as part of the Google for Startup initiative. Okay, so it's a part of the Google for a startup initiative. Okay, this is a platform under which Google will bring together investors, entrepreneurs, and programmers and provide opportunities to startups from small cities to interact and learn from them. So ये basically क्या है, प्रमोट कर रहे हैं जो इन्वेस्टर्स हैं, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं, प्रोग्रामर्स हैं, तो जो भी छोटे सिटीज हैं उनसे जो भी स्टार्टअप की अपॉर्चुनिटीज है वो प्रोवाइड करने के लिए दे आर बेसिकली having this initiative. Google aims to reach out to at least 10,000 startups with this program. So the aim is to reach out at least 10,000 startup के तक पहुंच पाए इस प्रोग्राम के थ्रू. ओके, सो दिस इनिशिएटिव इज बाय गूगल एंड ये किससे रिलेटेड इनिशिएटिव है वो भी देख लिया एंड क्या एम है वो भी देख लिया. ओके, so this question is finished. Now let's go to the next question. The next question that we have is, which city was ranked first in India in the EIU Global Livability Index 2022? Options हैं Bangalore, New Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai. The correct option is New Delhi. Okay, so B will be the correct answer. Now let's try to read this. The European Intelligence Unit recently released the Global Livability Index 2022, which ranked 173 cities on the basis of their living conditions. So इसमें totally 173 cities हैं, जिसका बेस क्या है कि वहां की जो लिविंग कंडीशन है वो कैसी. So 5 Indian cities are there, which are Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Ahmedabad, and Bangalore. So these were the countries which are there in this particular list. So Delhi was ranked the best at 140. So just try to understand कि Delhi best है इंडिया में, बट एक्चुअली टोटल 173 कंट्रीज हैं जिसमें से 140 पे है दिल्ली, जो कि इंडिया के लिए टॉप पे है. सो यू नो इट्स अ सिचुएशन टू थिंक अबाउट. Followed by Mumbai at 141, Chennai and Ahmedabad at 42 and 143. Bangalore was the last of India's cities at 146th rank. और जो बैंगलोर है वो 146 रैंक पे है. So top पे न्यू दिल्ली. Okay, so with this we have come to an end to our daily current affairs for today. So I'll meet you tomorrow with another session on daily current affairs. Till then, keep studying.